Hi, I'm Christopher Warnock of Renaissance Astrology, and today I want to talk about taking a Renaissance Astrology course. Now, our courses are split basically into mini courses and then full courses. And the mini courses are basically set up so you can kind of get your feet wet in a sort of small, discrete area. Teaches basic techniques. You can quickly learn the area, the small area, and then it gives you an idea of, perhaps you wanted to go on ahead and take a full course, but it gives you something you can immediately take and use and put to work. So we have a Planetary Magic MiniCourse, which works with planetary hours. We have the Mansions MiniCourse, which works with the Mansion of the Moon. The Decan Face MiniCourse, that works with the 36 Decan faces and making their talismans. These are all basically lessons that are excerpted from the full Astrological Magic Course. We also have a Geomancy MiniCourse, Astrology for Rootworkers, which deals with using astrology and hoodoo, and then also a Green Magic MiniCourse that uses Mansions of the Moon, planetary hours, and moon phases to work with plants and gardening and to do green magic. So really great. Take a look at these courses. You can see the links for those. And there, a lot of them, like I said, are intro, just to get a sense of whether this is, the congenial way of learning for you, if you want to go ahead and do the full courses. But then you can also take and learn from the mini courses and put the stuff to work immediately. So very useful. Our full courses are the Horary, Natal, Electional, and the Astrological Magic Courses. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about those. But what I really want to emphasize about the courses, and particularly the full courses, is that what's happening here that's different from anybody else that's doing courses and teaching, and what you're getting from Renaissance Astrology is a true initiation into the golden chain of Hermetic transmission of wisdom. So you got a deep and a practical engagement. At the same time, you're really getting, like I said, initiated into the true stream of Western esotericism. Okay, this is the real thing. These are the actual texts. This is the actual methodology. Very similar. I mean, again, if you come to get a horror reading from me, and what I'm teaching in the Horary course is very much like what you'd get from, say, William Lilly in 1647. Very minor differences. Essentially, you're getting the same technique, you're getting the same approach, and you're getting the same spiritual worldview that you would have gotten. Now, the thing about, in the Middle Ages or Renaissance, if you wanted to learn this knowledge, you would have to travel hundreds of miles. You'd have to find a master, locate them, and probably get a test. Here, essentially, doing the course is the test. It takes some intelligence, some intuition, but really the key is discipline. And you're getting taught by me personally. I've been a professional astrologer doing only medieval Renaissance astrology. I've had no training in modern astrology. I've been a professional astrologer since 1998. I've done over 5,000 horror readings for clients and over 1,000 natal readings for clients. I'm the guy that revived traditional astrological magic. I co-translated Picatrix. But even more than just translating Picatrix, what I did was to look at these traditional sources and say, okay, how do we actually use these in practice? How can we create authentic talismans in line with the tradition using these traditional sources, but actually make the talismans for real? So that's probably my greatest achievement, is to provide this whole intellectual and practical framework that allows you to use traditional sources to actually create talismans. And that's what you can see. If you look at a talisman on my page, you can see the traditional source where the recipe comes from, the factors. You can see the chart, and you can see how we actually made the talisman given the factors that we're looking at. So everybody working in contemporary traditional astrology is using this framework whether they acknowledge it or not. So really, when you're taking it, particularly the Astrological Magic Course for me, really getting it straight from the source, straight from the the original person who revived it. The other thing I would say is these courses are really taught from a professional perspective. We're not going to be looking at celebrity charts. We're not looking at your own chart. We're actually teaching people how to be professional astrologers in these, in the Horary and Electional and Natal Astrology course. Astrological Magic Course, if you're interested in making talismans, we can talk about it. But I don't teach people how to compete with me professionally in making talismans. But again, let's go back to talk about this idea of traditional lineages, because this is something that, the modern thing is, you go to the college, you do information dump on the test, you get a grade, you get a certificate, and you don't remember anything. But basically what you're getting out of it is this piece of paper that that certifies you or whatever. Now I do provide certificates with my courses, but the most important thing is that you're my student. and that I was part of these traditional lineage as well. These are direct student-to-teacher relationships where you're taught by an expert who's got training but also has extensive practical experience. So those two basic lineages are the Olivia Barclay QHP lineage. Olivia Barclay in the 80s started teaching from Lily's Christian Astrology, which is the key text of Hor Astrology. All our most prominent Hor astrologers today, Deb Holding, Sue Ward, John Fry, Lee Lehman, are all part of that Olivia Barclay lineage. I was taught by Lee Lehman, and very knowledgeable, had tons of experience, great practical astrologer, as well as knowing tons of stuff. That was an excellent, initiation for me. And so my students as well are part of that QHP lineage. And then my own astrological magic lineage. So my students, again, are directly taught by me, and then I'm hoping that they'll go out, in the exceptional ones and continue that lineage and teach themselves. So again, super traditional, being part of the lineage. Again, the astrology that we're teaching here is not New Age, it's not modern, it's not watered down or spoon-fed. Like I said, about 90% of what you'd actually get from astrologer in the Renaissance. This is deep knowledge and the true ancient wisdom. It's really what you're getting in the courses. So the teaching in the courses, you need to have a laptop or desktop. This is serious stuff. You need a big screen to be able to handle the reading and to do the charts and everything like that. The teaching is done via reading and writing. Okay, we don't do videos or lectures. First of all, it's much more efficient, but probably one of the most important things about it is that you're not limited to what's taught in the course. And I'm providing hundreds of pages, some cases thousands of pages of traditional text. Once you finish the course, you're going to be able to access those traditional texts and everything that's been written about it. If you think about medieval Renaissance astrology, the amount of English texts in early modern English from the 17th century, it's incredible. You don't want to be limited to just the minimal content that you're going to get from a video in a course. You're going to be able to access that, use it. For example, medical astrology. I mean, I don't teach medical astrology in the course, but if you finish the Horary course or Natal course, you would be able to go to those texts. And again, I have a whole CD full of hundreds and hundreds of pages of it, and you would be able to work on those texts. You'd be able to work through that and start doing medical astrology if you're interested in doing that. So very useful. Like I said, what's opening up for you is this entire lineage and entire tradition of text that you'll be able to access. To do the coursework, what you do is you would work through the lessons in order. There's a lesson text that's written by me. There are video introductions in the Astrological Magic Course. I sort of do short ones, but again, majority of it is for reading and writing. You'd read excerpts then from traditional sources, and then for each lesson, there's homework that you do. You answer the questions. There'll be written questions and essays, and you work through each lesson in order. But you're not left on your own, okay? My promise to each student is that as you work through the lessons in order, I'm available for questions that are necessary, in my opinion, to finish the homework of the current lesson, okay? And so the homework really provides a focus for what you need to learn from the lesson. We're going to touch on lots of things, get you kind of exposed to it, but really the homework focuses you as far as the knowledge you need to know. So those are the questions I will answer. Don't deal with other questions that come up or general random questions or what you might have. We really focus that on the lesson, but I'm there, and the communication then is by email. So you email me your work, and then if you have questions, let's set on the homework for the current lesson, you can email me those, and then I'll answer that question. So all of the courses, the full courses, teach the basics of medieval Renaissance astrology right from the beginning. You don't need any knowledge of astrology, in other words, modern astrology, and in fact, it's probably easier if you don't have to unlearn that stuff. It doesn't hurt you necessarily, but again, people ask me, I don't know any astrology. You don't need to know anything about it. And like I said, in a lot of ways, you're better off not knowing it. So we walk through all the basics, the zodiac, the signs, the planets, aspects, accidental and essential dignity, perfection, on and on and on and on. Everything that you need to know is taught specifically in the course. And as I said, the lessons are going to come. We do downloads for the basic lesson package. That's going to include the lessons themselves, which you're going to access in a browser on your website. On your hard drive, not from a website. and then PDF text. Some courses have paperback required text, and you can get these with a package at a special deal if you order it with a course, and you can check that out again which each course. So it's important to recognize that these courses are not just giving you little bits of information that you can slot into the way you already think, but giving you a whole new way of thinking for a modern person. Really giving you access to the worldview of the medieval Renaissance and also the methodology that they used. What we're going to do in the course, particularly in the predictive courses, is you learn the information, you learn the technique, but you're also going to understand how to use your intuition and develop your intuition. And this key with prediction is using your intuition and experience within the framework of the technique, within the framework of the tradition that provides you. Okay, this is true mastery. It's not something you can do with software. It's not something you can do with AI. And it takes actual application to real charts, real questions, working with unknown charts where you don't know the outcome, whether it's a Horary chart or a natal chart, and then working with us specifically in order to develop that combination of intuition and technique. And again, this is something that's unique to my teaching style. I don't think you're going to find anybody else that either basically it's psychic and you're just making it up out of whole cloth, or there's this idea that the technique works by itself. And in my experience, neither of those are true. And that's, again, if you look at Ptolemy's Centiloquium, which is a list of aphorisms, the very first one says you can only get so far on technique. You need that inspiration to get that further accurate answer. Nevertheless, that intuition, that experience, that wisdom is something you develop in the course and you can actually work on in a practical way. So again, I think that's unique about the teaching that I do. So let's just talk about some of the individual full courses. So the Hor Astrology course, Hor Astrology of course is the using not birth charts, that's what people are used to for astrology, but using the chart at the time of the question is received and answered. And what this does is by focusing on one question, the chart allows you to give an incredibly focused and accurate answer. So for example, questions like, will I marry X or have a committed relationship with X? Will I get back with Y? I mean, these are the type of questions we get all the time, and we can get an incredibly accurate take on whether, like I said, whether you're going to marry X or not. Will I get the job at Y Corp? Will I keep my job? Will my house sell this year? Will I buy the house in, Z Street? Almost any concrete yes or no question. And by having a very focused question, you get a very focused and accurate answer back. And I have to tell you, I love Horary. I really do. I mean, the accuracy and precision you can get from it is incredible. It's not waffling. It's not making stuff up afterwards. It's really pedal to the metal because someone comes to you with a question, you don't know the outcome to that, and you can either be right or wrong. And so, for example, what I do all my readings in writing, and then if someone gives me feedback, I note that down in terms of what the answer is. So I've got an incredible amount of, showing that this works, that in practical terms is an excellent way of doing it. And think about this, you actually have the ability to predict the future. Absolutely incredible. Again, I think this is really the epitome of true astrology and true astrological prediction. And again, I'm very excited about Horary. Natal astrology. What I teach for my natal astrology course is William Lilly, as I mentioned, was best known as a Horary astrologer, but he also did natal astrology too. So I use a Lilly style Horary style sort of for the natal. Essentially what that is to focus on the houses and house rulers. And it gives us an incredible amount of practical and incredibly useful information about the native. That's the person whose natal chart is being looked at. So, for example, they're going to have good and bad finances overall. What do they make money from? What do they lose money from? Children. What's the person's health? Good or bad? What sort of health problems do they have? Romantic relationships. Again, you get a great overall picture of the sort of pluses and minuses of their romantic life over their entire life. Their spiritual life. Again, sort of what their life focus is, what spiritual areas they can benefit from, which ones may be more problematic for them. Career, again, which types of careers they're going to be successful at, which ones they wouldn't be successful at, their overall career prognosis, on and on. Friends, family, curses and secret enemies, almost any concrete area of your life. You can get a really amazing overview for the entire life through natal astrology. So again, that's a really interesting course. And it's very interesting to see how much more concrete it is than modern. Modern astrology tends to be very psychological, and that's useful. But if you want to know, like I said, what am I going to make money from? What are good careers for me to look at? That's not something that you're going to get from modern astrology. So the next course is Electional Astrology. Electional is choosing astrologically auspicious times to take action. So the electional chart is going to be a specific time range on a specific date at a specific location. So it gives you a very focused, accurate, multi-factor, and therefore very powerful choice of times to take action. So for example, for money, for marriage, for business, for legal cases, again, almost any concrete activity that you can think of as in order to picking the time for, the Electional Astrology course covers. And then finally, really a specialty at Renaissance Astrology is the Astrological Magic Course. As I said, have an incredible background in astrological magic. I was the one that translated Picatrix and really was the key person in reviving traditional astrological magic. So I'm obviously biased, but I obviously think that I'm the best person to learn astrological magic from if you're really serious about it. We teach the necessary basic medieval Renaissance astrology for electing times, but focus on electing time for talismans. Teach how to make planetary, fixed star and constellations, mansions of the moon, Decan face talismans, and house-based talismans, which are the highest of high magic, most difficult and most powerful talisman that you can make. Also the ritual that's necessary for it, and then provide hundreds of different images to make talismans for personal use. And so again, this is not a course for commercial use of it, for turning out talismans. The course includes PDF texts, plus there's required paperback astrological texts, and you can get the paperback package if you want to when you start the course. Otherwise, you can get the paperbacks on your own or get them through Kindle. So what I would say about all the courses is that this is not quick and easy. You need to work hard, but the rewards are incredible. And the idea that you can actually accurately make predictions about the future is just really incredible. Or the ability to create authentic, powerful astrological talismans. This is the true mystery. Okay? And really, ultimately, what this is all about is initiation to the ancient mysteries for real. Not just some diluted New Age self-labeling thing, you made it up or whatever, but these are the true ancient mysteries, and you can see that because we're working from the actual text and doing it in a way that is exactly the same, as I said, worldview and methodology that these texts use. So the other thing I would say about it is that, one of the keys to my course is that what you're doing is you're really able to see on a really deep level how I do it, what my methodology is. And that's interesting. But I'm constantly, putting forth to students that you recognize that you'll need to develop your own individual method, particularly for accurate prediction. That people, and when they do the Horary course, for example, they're not in lockstep with me. They're not doing exactly the same methodology as I am. They're picking from this incredible toolbox that we have and then picking the tools that work for them, that engage their intuition and allow them to come up with an accurate answer. Now, they're just not making it up out of whole cloth, and they're not picking from all sorts of different schools. They're using the medieval Renaissance techniques. But everybody ends up with their own individual methodology if you're a master. And so essentially what you do is you can drink from the stream, drink from the original methodology that I'm using, and then go ahead and develop your own. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about this, is to recognize the diversity within unity and unity within diversity that's possible within the tradition. And so I'm, again, very excited to teach this. Getting older, I don't have too much longer. So I'm really wanting to teach as many people as possible to accomplish as many initiations into this authentic tradition as I can. So check out the links there for the courses. And you can also, if you wanted to get more than one full course at once, you can. When you register, if you get more than one at once, you can get a discount. And those are worth checking out as well. If you're deciding, like I said, you want to get all 4 courses, you get the maximum value in terms of discount from that. But you can pretty much get any combination of courses, or just do it one at a time. I mean, really, it's really up to you and how you choose to go through that. Because, for example, if you wanted to get 2 courses, you could move through them both at once. You could do one at the other. There really isn't one that you wouldn't necessarily need to start with, because they all start from the beginning. You can start with any course that you want, and you'll be fine, because they all go step by step. So again, check out the course links. It's extensively linked on the YouTube page, and I really find that the most valuable thing that was done for me by the masters that I studied with was to open me up to the tradition, and I'm very happy to be able to do that for the students that study with me.